For the future of the United States, I think it is important to think of the biggest problem facing this country. I call into question the notion that a party in the United Kingdom knows what is best for us here at home. First, I will address the nature of the biggest problem facing the U.S. Second, I will provide a counterproposal for which party is the best for the United States. Lastly, I will address the issue of nuclear power more generally and thorium more specifically. If the biggest problem facing the U.S. is misidentified, then the solution is built on the wrong tenets. The proposition speaker misidentifies energy as the biggest issue facing the future of the U.S. without ever addressing the debt crisis. This crisis came bubbling to the surface in the heat of last August. Without having a party balance the massive budget deficits and the inability for the U.S. to pay off its debt, this country is headed for an economic crisis worse than the one that happened in 2008. The U.S. will go completely bankrupt. The energy issue is also not particularly salient. The proposition speaker does not suggest problems with the sustainability of current energy usage. OPEC, and in particular Saudi Arabia, have sufficient amounts of oil to provide the world. The U.S. also uses natural gas, which consists in 25% of U.S. energy consumption, according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration. Clean coal is another solution. There's just no reason to shift to nuclear power. Second, the opposition should win this debate if 1, it proves the solution offered by the proposition is wrong, or 2, if the opposition solution is better. I will first offer my own solution and then I will address the propositions. The Democratic Party presents the best options for the future of the United States. They have the best solution to the debt crisis, which is slashing bloated defense spending while maintaining most entitlement spending. Second, the Democratic Party supports renewable energy. Renewable energy is good for all the same reasons that nuclear power is good, but it is cheaper to invest in as well as has less public opposition. Supporting nuclear power in the United States is political suicide. Lastly, the Democratic Party has the best solution on foreign policy. Democrats shy away from war but engage fully around the world with foreign aid. Foreign aid generates goodwill toward the United States and makes other nations more likely to work with the U.S. This helps protect the interests of not only the recipients but also the U.S. The Labor Party is an insufficient solution to the problems in the U.S. The proposition doesn't meet the burden of proof, which is proving the Labor Party has any capacity to grip with problems in the U.S. This is a problem that can't be overcome because zero political science scholarship supports that a Labor Party would be good for the U.S. The Labor Party hasn't even been able to get the UK to fully shift to thorium usage. They're ineffective and they're also war hawks. They support foreign interventions, which is proven by their support for Iraq. Their foreign policy has become highly stigmatized, which is proven by Tony Blair getting voted out of office. The U.S. doesn't want more wars. It can't afford them, nor should it wage unjustified interventions in the world. Lastly, nuclear power is not the solution either. There are huge upfront costs which makes it impossible to find companies to invest in building these power plants. It would also require a tremendous shift in how the economy functions and would take decades to ever have any effect. It also wouldn't have any effect on oil dependence because nuclear power is only used for electricity. The proposition suggests thorium is abundant but provides no evidence for it. It says that we would have it for 40 years, but that's obviously not a sustainable solution for the entirety of our future. There's also no evidence that other countries would shift to thorium if the U.S. does. The rest of the world matters because if it still uses uranium, then proliferation is inevitable. Iran also would not have a rational incentive to switch to thorium if they want nuclear weapons. Sanctions have also been effective in deterring Iran from building nuclear weapons. They are building civilian nuclear power, which is distinct from nuclear weapons. Lastly, my opponent says thorium is safer, yet experts said the nuclear reactor in Fukushima was safe too. There is just no evidence that thorium isn't susceptible to natural disasters, which makes the future my opponent describes very bleak.